Welcome to the Lost Signals Discusses Film and TV. Using the revolutionary Manzur-Mosi Thurlow scale,
or MOTS,
we scrupulously review these art forms with an emphasis on narrative structure. Join us for another entertaining episode.
Hello there, and welcome back to Lost Signals Discusses and Reviews Film and TV. I am your pilot for the night, Scott Thurlow, and I'm here with my co-pilots, Stephen Amosi.
Hello.
Chris Morgan.
Punch it.
And we have just seen Solo, a Solo story, or whatever it is. The new Han Solo film.
Yeah.
Solo, a Solo story?
Sure.
Star Wars,
a Solo story.
There you
Solo,
go.
a Star Wars story. One of those. That's the film we've just seen, and we're about to discuss it. So, does anyone have a good log line? We were bouncing around some Ocean's 11 style shit. At least I was suggesting that. Solo's dozen, I don't know.
Two heists and a funeral.
Two heists and a funeral is pretty good.
Yeah, two heists and a funeral. That's
In space.
In space.
Yeah. All right. So with that, Steve, why don't you tell us about the plot of Solo?
All right. I'll certainly try. Starts off with Han as like a kid on whatever planet he comes
Doesn't
from.
matter. A backwater planet.
Whatever.
Corellius.
Carillion. Carillion?
Corellius.
Okay, sure. He's there. He's got, the Khaleesi is his girlfriend.
Amelia
and
Clark.
They decide they're going to escape, but that doesn't go very well. They get separated. He escapes. For some reason, they couldn't open the doors back up and just bring him back out. And then...
Listen, if you've been nitpicking like that, we'll be here all fucking night, dude, so...
But he gets out and spends apparently like 5 years trying to get back there.
Three.
I think.
3 years? Yeah. In the meantime, he joins the Navy to learn how to fly, but they kick him out off screen.
The Imperial
and then,
Navy.
Yes. And then he ends up as a grunt, meets up with Woody Harrelson, the bartender from Cheers, and apparently he's
In space.
formed a ragtag group of Tandy Newton and Jon Favreau as an alien, and they steal stuff. So they're
Some
trying
kind
to
of hyperfuel.
Yeah, they're trying to steal. They're trying to steal some unobtainium from a big ass train, and things go bad. They go talk to. Wait, is this after he gets the? No. Then they have to go find a ship.
Yeah.
For some reason, they go find Lando Calrissian.
No, all right, so they fuck up like stealing like the refined plutonium or whatever the hell it is on the train on that like shipping yard. So then they have to steal it like raw from the mines of the volcano or whatever. So they need a ship to do that.
They need a ship that can do the Kessel Run in under 20 parsecs, which I don't think even makes sense, to be honest.
It never did.
But
still doesn't.
Well, yeah, I was going to say parsec is not... Yeah, go on.
But, regardless, they get Lando and his wise-talking robot, who's awesome and fomenting rebellion everywhere she goes.
Well,
among
a
robots.
robot rebellion.
Yes.
Droid rebellion, if you will.
That was awesome, though. Go on.
Sure.
Yeah, that was great.
I thought that was great.
Voiced by Linda Hunt. And they all decide to go for heist number 2. And they do. And then a ton of twists happen that are all very obvious. And turns out Woody Harrelson's an asshole.
Everyone double crosses everyone. Is pretty much that.
The Mother of Dragons is a dick at the end too, and that's pretty much it. And then Han Solo is a hero, but then says that he doesn't want to be a hero.
And here's a big
In true Han
spoiler.
Solo fashion.
You forgot about Darth Maul, which we...
I did not. You forgot about Darth Maul.
All right, Steve
Precast.
did.
Darth Maul also makes an appearance for 2 seconds for some fucking reason.
Because of fan wank.
That's
the reason.
Maybe he's like Deadpool. Maybe like
Are they gonna put him in another movie? There's literally no point.
Well, he got cut in half, so maybe like he had baby legs for a while. And,
Maybe, but because of fan wank is why he's in the film.
well, yeah,
What
of
I'm
course.
answering you, Steve. with.
Yeah, I guess so.
Mm-hmm.
Just seems like that's stupid to put him in the film.
Yes,
Like,
I agree.
She doesn't. That character doesn't exist in any of the other movies.
No, it's complete fan wank. Ray Park does still play him, but Sam Witwer instead of Peter Serafinowicz voices him.
Yeah.
Okay.
Anyway,
big difference.
Anyway, it's silly. but
it's completely unnecessary.
I'm probably gonna give it a 1 for plot. It's fun at a lot of points, but also just the plot completely falls apart at every like linchpin that is important to it. and like that's I don't know. I can't give it any real credit for that, but I will give it a 1 for the enjoyable nature of watching this film.
Yeah, like I was debating between 1 and 2, and I actually wrote down 1 first as my gut feeling, and I think based on that, I'm going to agree with you. Like it's fine, but also like there's some unnecessary shit. Yes, the Darth Maul thing. Some other shit too could have been handled better, a lot better, in fact. But for what it is, yeah, it's basically like you said, 2 heists and parentheses and a funeral.
Yeah.
But one thing a detail, I don't know if it matters or not, but they're doing all this shit because they're working for like some crime syndicate, essentially. Like Paul Bettany plays like a crime lord, crime boss,
yeah,
and he needs him to do this job.
I almost forgot about Paul Bettany.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
I mean, I'll speak about him more later.
And Paul Bettany's in this.
Yes. So like that is fine, but yeah, I think I agree, Steve. Like, for what it's fun. Don't get me wrong. Yeah, sure, it's an enjoyable like romp, really. But there's not much to it. It's similar to like how some things like Darth Maul. This fucking movie is unnecessary.
Yeah,
I would say there's no need to have a solo or origin story other than the fact that they want more money.
Just wait for the Boba Fett story.
Yeah,
man.
I can't wait for that.
Hey, James Mangold's doing that, so
cool.
Yeah, he did Logan, dude.
All right, he's directing it. Well, it doesn't matter.
He's writing and directing.
In this film, I'm giving it a 1 to plot.
I'm going to give it a 2. I actually really, this is one of these movies where I can't defend things. I just thoroughly enjoyed it. It had some weak spots. The very ending.
You're not being an objective critic at all, are you?
No, but I didn't give it a 3.
Okay.
Because,
well, you definitely should. I definitely would have got on your ass if you did give it a 3.
No,
I was.
Well, the thing is, it's like what I was like. All right, it's going to be a 2.5, so it's either going to go 2 or 3. And then that ending tag, when I'm like,
was there an ending tag? Because I was
yeah,
not throwing the credits.
Well,
there.
because no, not after credits, but at the end where they like left Han on the beach and he saw her fly away. Yeah. I'm like, please end here. Don't go to the card game. And they had the follow-up card game where you because they subverted that expectation early on, and then Lando flies off in the Falcon at some point, and I'm like, good.
Well,
if you're obviously
all about doing all the things that they said in Star Wars, right? In the original, it's like, oh, well, he won that fucking ship
right,
but a card game with Lando. You're clearly going to have to see that at some point.
And the Kessel Run.
But they already announced that like whoever played Han Solo has been signed for 3 films, and they already set it up for a sequel. So don't do that in this film. Set it up because it would have been so much better. So when I was in the movie theater, I was just like, where's it going to go? And as soon as I saw that, I'm like, you sunk yourself.
All right.
But no, I thoroughly enjoyed it. I cannot say that there wasn't plot holes and there weren't things that were like face palming and you're like, oh, here's the Millennium Falcon's escape pod, because the Millennium Falcon has that like divot in the center of it and it's no longer there, but the escape pod, and it's like, okay, now he looks more like the Millennium Falcon, and things that you see later on in the Millennium Falcon conveniently get shot off or knocked off or something like that. So it's kind of like, okay, and then how Han Solo got his name was really ridiculously face palming.
It's fucking stupid.
I know. It's just like Han. He goes, all right, we'll save that in case you want to see it.
Solo.
Oh, so we'll call you Han Solo.
Nope, we won't save it. Fuck you.
All right.
We're ruining that joke.
He was by himself, and the Imperial recruiter said, oh, you're alone? All right, how about Solo? You're Solo, Han Solo. Okay, you're
very clever writing right there.
Yeah.
But yeah, so 2.
So I'm going to give it a 2.
All right. We'll continue on then with themes, Chris. Being a smuggler is cool.
Being a smuggler.
Don't work for drug crime lords.
Stay in school. Don't be a smuggler. Being a smuggler is cool.
Go on.
With our themes?
That's what I'm asking you.
Too bad.
All right. Well, wait a minute. Let's see. If this were a G.I. Joe PSA, what would
crime doesn't pay?
Crime doesn't
pretty much
pay.
What would it say?
Don't trust anybody.
Join the rebellion.
Don't trust anybody and always look for predictability.
Sure. If you love money, make an unnecessary ancillary film, and you'll get more of it.
Mm-hmm. Oh, that's the true theme.
Oh, wait, the theme of the movie is cash grab? Okay.
Kind of, both within and without universe, really.
I mean, seriously, I have no idea. Does anybody have any ideas for 3?
No, I have zero argument in defense of a 1. I'm going with a 0 because there's no, like you said, Sivo, the reason this film exists is A, because it's part of the franchise, and I don't even know if there's like much fan demand for it, also, hold on, he just said, they have to show all the shit that they talked about in Star Wars, so here you go. Here it is, I guess. Or at least 4 or 5 things that Solo talked about.
The thing is, this production was problematic and they switched directors and had to rewrite. And you could tell. Because there are certain things, if they didn't try to rush this thing out. I told Beth, I said, one of the things I liked about the idea going into this and going to Rogue One, it's like, all right, you make a heist story in this universe, you make a war story in this universe, and then you plop Han Solo in it, which is not a bad idea because you're breaking the formula. The problem is you can tell where the seams were. You can tell where this thing, where they got new contractors on it, and the floor is not level, and so it could have been a lot better. But I
agree with that.
Yeah,
thematically wise,
woulda, coulda, fucking shoulda, and there's no theme to this thing.
I think as well. Got anything?
There's certainly not no theme to it. It's just not a very strong or good one. I don't have much to add to that.
Will it fit into a G.I. Joe PSA?
Yeah. What's their weak, poorly handled theme to you?
I don't know. There's something about family in there.
Finding it's like the Guardians theme, but Guardians handled it so much better.
Yeah. There's,
Well, Guardians 1 did. Guardians 2 is
something about guarding your heart or whatever against Sith.
Is that there?
No. Well, he doesn't do it, but he should.
Right.
Anyway, no, it's just not a very strong portion of this film.
Yes, and again, not really the point. I agree. So 0s across the board.
Okay.
And that'll bring me to Antagonists. So if we call here's the thing. I like Paul Bettany's role in this film. I think he did a good job with what little he had. He was probably my favorite character, the most interesting character, at least by far to me. So but he's not really the antagonist. He's more like their shady employer, more or less. He's not trying to he wants them to finish the fucking job, to pull his job.
Yeah.
So I don't know, being in debt possibly it could be the antagonist because that's how they started out. That's why they're doing this to begin with, anyways. Trying to escape and build a better life. Maybe that's kind of a theme. But I don't know, what do they feel antagonized by? Random shit that trips up their shitty plan, anyways. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I would actually say he is the antagonist because Han hates him the entire fucking time. And
Sure,
feels that he's stolen from him and stolen his girl or whatever the fuck.
Sure, but
the idea there was in that
well, he owns her, man. Come on now, just saying.
Well, he put the fucking tattoo on her.
No, I mean, but Han. I'm saying yes, but Han feels as if she should immediately return to him.
Have you ever seen a Harrison Ford movie? Of course, Han Solo feels like that.
Yeah, but this isn't Harrison Ford.
Yeah,
go on.
Has the feel of Harrison Ford.
We'll get to that in a second.
No, but I did like Paul Bettany a lot in this. Actually,
that's what I'm saying. So
he did a good job, and I'm going to give it a 1 just for him. Other than that, I don't think there's really another strong antagonist. Maybe somebody would make a point for case for what was the other crew that was trying to steal this
the Marauder crew?
Shit? Yeah.
Yeah, but that was part of the twist at the end, and I mean there's a little heavy-handed foreshadowing there. But yeah, I was back and forth on this too because I really wasn't sure how much of a presence Paul Bettany was, and then I'm like, I mean, obviously you knew Woody Harrelson was gonna swindle him. But I don't know. I like Paul Bettany. He wasn't the strongest antagonist, but it's I wish there were more of him.
Yes, exactly. So if we're calling him the antagonist, then the only reason I would give it a 1 is if we're going to agree to do that, or you guys convince me to do so, because I agree with that, Chris. Like I said, he did a great job. He's a good actor. Don't get me wrong. In general, so he had enough of a role. But I wish he was there more.
Would have been.
I wish he was more of an antagonist.
It would have been so easy to overplay that role too, given his screen time.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So I think he showed great restraint. Right. I really wish there was more of him.
Yeah, I agree with that. But based on that, I'm going to give it a solid 1 for him, and everything else is sort of by the wayside.
Yeah, I'm going to go with he's not a strong antagonist, but he's also a good catalyst too.
Sure.
So
yeah.
All right. Yeah, I'm going to give him a 1.
Yeah, that works. All right. So let's go on to speaking of Han Solo himself, protagonist with you, Steve-O.
Yeah, it's Han, and I think the guy, I don't remember his name.
And do you have it written down?
New guy. No.
Oh, nice.
He's the only guy I don't have his name written down.
Han Solo as Han Solo.
Alden, and everybody else, I know their names already.
Yeah.
Alden Eric or Aldrich or...
Sure. That guy. He's he actually does a pretty good job. I thought he did a pretty good job, especially towards the end. I felt he felt like more of a Han character. In the beginning, it was a little shaky, but
yeah, I agree with that.
I liked him in this movie. I think that if he continues to do. He said he signed on for 3 more movies.
Yeah.
Apparently, which I don't know if I want to see 3 more Han movies, but
Hey, there's gonna be a Lando movie apparently, so yeah, I'll go see that.
Sure, I'll see a Lando movie. I did like Donald Glover. Anyway, I think that he did a fairly good job, and Han has like this whole history of like all these interesting things that he's done.
Yeah,
and it is cool to see him like, oh, this is what he's talking about when he said they did the Castle Run in under 13 parsecs or whatever.
12
doesn't matter.
No, he says round it down.
He's like 12 cars. Yeah, but he's like, yeah. Anyway,
it doesn't actually matter.
But yeah, it's it's interesting to see all that stuff, and I liked him well enough to give Protagonist a 1. I think
I'm looking at a 0, and here's why. This is going to sound an odd thing to say, but it's something I thought of when I was thinking about it on the way back from the film before we started met up to podcast. Is that he feels, oddly enough, he feels like the cheapest, most cardboard cutout of Han Solo, even though he is Han Solo. Like, it's so strange. He has all like he's like the trappings of it. He's like an uncanny valley Han Solo. He has no soul, if you will.
Oh God, dude, did you write this film? Come on.
Yeah, but like that's what I'm saying. Like, because of course I have to give him like he tries to capture the characteristics and the mannerisms and so forth and the cockiness, but I don't think he didn't do a bad job. He did an okay job, at least to me, both acting and what he was given to like say and do in the film with the script. So it was just kind of weak to me. He was like the least interesting character, at least in my eyes, and I didn't think he was like all that, like all that charming, all that witty, all that roguish. In the way that, like, you sort of have an image of Han Solo.
Yeah, but this is like proto-Han. This is like...
I get that.
There's like 15, 20 years of experience between here and...
I suppose, but I'm just saying, like, it didn't really
we'll call it 30 years of experience.
Whatever it's going to be.
30 years experience, yeah.
Didn't quite get there for me. So, like, it might be a soft 0. Like, it was just weak on the writing, like I said, and sort of the acting front. Maybe this will put him on the map, and that's fine. I have nothing against this dude as an actor. I just... he didn't really, like, get there for me as the character in this film, so...
I liked him. I'm going to give him 1. I thought he did a fine job. It would have been a really easy, again, like with Paul Bettany, it'd be a really easy role to overplay. I thought they captured Han well for what they did. I mean, considering all the problems they had, I actually cared about Han. I don't
care how troubled the fucking production was.
No. But that's my point is, considering how troubled it was, I was actually expecting him to be the weakest character.
He was for me, but
well, I can
see that he's not.
I know, but I mean, I thought that, like, yeah, he may not be the strongest protagonist and all, but I thought he did a fine job.
Like I said, yeah,
because yeah, I've got something cooling that's gonna get my wrath. So yeah, I'm gonna give him a 1.
All right, like I said, he was all right. He was fine, but just for me, it's like it leans on the 0 side of the fence, but not like particularly harshly. Mm-hmm. So 1's for you guys, 0 for me. And that'll bring us to secondary with you, Chris.
Donald Glover channels Billy D. Williams without making it a caricature. I agree with that. He was fucking phenomenal. I bought Lando completely because with more than anybody else, even though he, Andrew Eldritch or whatever, Alden Eldritch or whatever his name is,
Alden Solo
had that kind of, he did look like a young Harrison Ford, whatever. What Donald Glover did was he obviously looked at Billy D. Williams, could have caricatured it. He was like so fucking smooth. So if there was if there were no other supporting characters I like, he is actually my favorite. I'm definitely giving this 1, but I love Tandy Newton's character for her role. I loved the robot that you were talking about, the L3. Woody Harrelson. Like I said, Woody Harrelson I liked a lot. He was pretty much your old thief kind of cardboard cookie cutout, but I liked him. He got across some pathos, so it's definitely getting a very strong 1.
All right, so. I was waiting for someone to say something similar to that. Yes, I'm giving it a 1. Almost certainly all the credit, much of the credit to Donald Glover for that. But that's what my problem with, to go back a bit, with his portrayal of Han Solo was. In the same way that Donald Glover channeled Billy D and was Lando, Han Solo was not. So I wish he had done, because that's why it was a good portrayal of it. And that's why I'm pretty much giving secondary. Yeah, I like the Droid too. L3 was pretty solid. You can probably speak more about it, because I think she might be your favorite character, Steve-O, secondary character. But I'm still giving it a 1 overall, but mostly due to Donald Glover.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Amelia Clarke also was fine too. Like again, in her role,
she's fine. Yeah.
Again, what the script gave her to work with, it was perfectly acceptable.
Yeah. I think that supporting characters was one of the big strengths of this movie. Donald Glover, great as Lando, as you guys mentioned.
Chewbacca was there too.
Chewbacca was also there. He was fine. He actually had more.
He was Chewbacca.
He had more characterization.
Actually, they did give him some backstory. That's true. Yeah.
In a lot of other movies. Woody Harrelson was good as Beckett. L3 was really fun, like as a robot, just sowing the seeds of rebellion everywhere
She was hilarious.
And like just talking, like going, always talking about like robot revolutions and like robot rights and stuff like that. It's great.
That's true. That was a good angle. I agree with that.
That portrayal was really good. Jon Favreau as Rio, I think was his name.
His name is
the original
Rio.
pilot. Now he's dead. And Tandy Newton did a really good job too. So yeah, there
the
are a lot of
time she was there.
Yeah, there are a lot of good roles for supporting characters in this movie, and all of them did a good job because they are all freaking pretty big time actors.
Yeah,
for the most part. It's weird how many celebs they got, like big celebs they got in this movie. Like you would think they would try to go for a little lower budget or like a little newcomers.
Star Wars, man. They got all the money.
Yeah, but
in the world.
Star Wars has always been like newcomers on the scene.
Yeah, okay. Yeah,
nah, not really. The prequels
they
were
both
like
had a mix, I thought, kind of, but
the prequels started trying to shovel in as many celebrities as possible. So it's kind of
yeah, but they don't do that anymore. We don't talk about those.
All right.
No.
Well, either way,
anyway, it's a 1.
It's a 1 for secondary.
Strong ones all around, I think.
Yep, and that'll bring me to dialogue. So I'm looking at a 0 to start off with. Nothing wrong with it, but it's Star Wars dialogue, and even given like knowing how Star Wars dialogue in quotes like normally goes, this was even like a little weaker than that. People are like basically half the lines were exposition, which I guess like you have to do some of it, but like I said, even when they gave like a Han Solo-ish line, or someone was like, the card game is probably the best scene because Donald Glover like he was carrying it pretty much.
Yeah.
So like I like that interaction, but the rest of it is like, all right. A good example is I remember this from early on when Han is still on his street rat planet, like street rat days on his home planet.
Yeah.
He's escaping with Amelia Clarke's character's name, whatever she is, and like they get out of this little speeder, and he's like, "We gotta go." Like, yeah. Like you don't need to say that. Just have them run. Like, and there's lots of shit like that throughout the movie. So I'm just saying that's why I'm probably giving it a 0.
You bring up a really good point about exposition, but I was going to say the one. If I had any complaint with Rogue One, it was like the unnecessary, like little nods, like having the thing. Half of this dialogue was like winks. It was just like,
I was waiting for you to bring that up.
Here's the castle. Oh yeah, it's like there's like little points from like, I like this enough. I'm moving all my fury to dialogue because the dialogue was atrocious. Remember how I always say like I'll give dialogue a 1 if it's natural. It doesn't have to be quotable.
Yes.
Most of this dialogue was atrocious.
And yeah, you're right. A lot of it was winks, and it was fucking grating. I'm glad. Yeah, I'm sorry. I'm waiting for someone to say that because that was the other like half of the equation on this one. It was like, God, like it's so obvious that they're like going for it. Even when they try to subvert it, I have a good feeling about this. Fuck you.
Yeah, I have a good feeling about this. Oh, hey, here's something. Let's mention this. Oh, let's mention a Gundark or not a Gundark or whatever. Oh, let's drop this one.
Things like this might be some style too, but when like they're teaching Chewie how to play like the thing that the little holographic game that he's playing and. Like, and then he rips a guy's arms off, all this shit, like, rip your arms off. Like, every time they went for a nod, especially in dialogue, I agree with Chris.
And the most atrocious
Star Wars references
the
in the
most,
movie.
the most
worse than ever.
One of the only thing that to me was like, the recruiter naming him Solo was pretty.
That was terrible.
Was atrocious.
Yeah.
But him speaking Kashyyyk, where he was doing the grunts.
Sure.
I mean, it's just like, I get why you did it, but it really didn't work.
Yes.
I understand it, and your intentions were good, but it really looks stupid, especially since you subtitled it.
Yes.
It was, yeah, so like, if there's I'm sitting here watching this, and I'm like, if there's one thing that's getting a 0 for me, it's this. And it's just like, so all the stuff we were talking about, I'm like, all right, you know what? The reason I don't like this is pushing it towards dialogue. So like dialogue has the strongest 0 from me. And I'm usually the kindest on dialogue. This is fucking atrocious.
And that's saying something, folks. So
like my mouth's watering.
What do you got, Steve-O?
Yeah, it's not great dialogue. It's, I'm gonna obviously give it a 0
Perfect
as well.
addendum.
Yeah, there's not much more to be said. I don't think it's just it is Star Wars dialogue, and it's even worse than normal Star Wars dialogue, as you said.
Exactly.
Earlier, Scott. And That's it.
And that's pretty much all we have to say about dialogue. All right, well, that's going to be style with you, Steve-O.
Style is an interesting thing in this movie. I think it's good enough to get a 1.
Yep, I
but
would
it's
agree.
by no means like the best Star Wars movie in terms of style, I don't think. You got the John Williams score as always, and that's always good.
It's always going to be pretty sweet.
Yeah,
Even if it's not John Williams doing it.
They had a little subversion on the opening crawl, which was interesting to see. I don't know if I was a huge fan of it.
It
but
was fine.
I like that they were trying something different. And, there's a lot of interesting world building stuff that goes into any Star Wars movie, which, is always cool to see. But yeah, I mean, style was good. Definitely good enough to get a 1.
I loved the look of everything in this movie. I thought it was great. But getting to the music, what I loved about it is because you know how we're always talking about, like, as we said with dialogue and stuff, like referential stuff as eye rolling. In this case, it's like the John Williams score with like the asteroid chase and so forth. It's just
that
like,
worked. The visual, like
worked.
The auditory dialogue, if you will.
Don't remember. I could not remember who the composer was. I'd never heard of him because like they've gotten Michael Giacchino's score Rogue One. I didn't know who this guy was. So I mean, he definitely did fall back on the John Williams scores a lot. But I thought,
well, what else are you going to do in a Star Wars film, more or less?
Aside from,
I'm not saying it
coming
was
up with
bad. I'm just saying like they sort of were going to do that always.
But I liked their use of it,
sure.
and especially like when they showed the battlefield where Han's a ground pounder, and then immediately they just play in the background, like they don't do the whole Imperial March, but they just bring it up. I thought it was really nice. Again, with you, I love the look of everything. I thought the music worked well.
Yeah, so like I agree. I think style's probably the strongest one for me in this. Like I always like the look of it. Like you're right, the world building is always usually pretty solid, and this one was no exception. I definitely liked Paul Bettany's like little moving lair, like essentially in the desert. Like that was really cool, and like all the action was perfectly fine. And you're right, in the same way, like the dialogue nods, winks like often fell flat. Some of the visual ones, like for example, when he's seeing like the recruitment basically video for the Imperial Army, it's the Imperial Death March is playing. It's like join the Empire's Galaxy. It was almost like a fucking Fallout propaganda thing.
Yeah, I actually liked that a lot.
Yeah, it was pretty solid. So yeah, and like the cinematography and all that, like I said, the action was framed and just done pretty well. So I think for me, style is one of the stronger points.
And you know what the funny thing is? Because usually in action films, no matter what kind of action film it is, to me, action films have to be done right or they're really boring. Which is like which is why I would say Mad Fury Road was so amazing because it's an action film that is choreographed well.
I think in this one they didn't overuse the action. I hope you're about to say that.
Yeah, I was going to say they had the right amount of action. The action scenes were long, but not tedious.
Exactly.
That's it. They were long, but they weren't tedious.
I will say this: any chase scene in this movie was confusing as fuck. Those could have been shot way better. In terms of style, that's one of my biggest complaints. But
it's the biggest. I see it kind of
like that car chase in the beginning was very confusing. There were cars coming from like different directions that I was like, wait, wasn't that guy behind him before and now he's in front? Like, it was just not well directed.
Wasn't edited
there
well.
No spatial like you couldn't tell where things were spatially. But other than that, I thought it was again one of the strongest points of the movie. Very good.
Fair enough. It's funny because like I see what you're saying, but I didn't notice it at the time. But now I'm thinking about it, I'm like, you're right. Like it was very odd.
Yeah.
But even so, like that's definitely not enough to like overwhelm like the good parts of which I thought were pretty strong throughout of style.
True fact.
All right, so we're finally on to a recommendation, and that'll be you, Chris. Do you in fact recommend Solo, a Han Solo Star Wars story in Star Wars?
I actually do. I thoroughly enjoyed this movie. It was far from perfect. Usually something like this would be frustrating where I'd be rewriting it. But I went into this, and maybe it's because I went into this with low expectations. Ultimately, the more I saw of it, the more I wanted to see it. And, Donald Glover, I was so excited when they cast him as when they cast him as Lando.
Lando, yes.
And Lando Malari from Babylon 5.
Is that how Han says Lando's name?
No,
I hope so.
There's this character from Babylon 5 called Lando Malari. That's what.
Okay.
But when they cast him as Lando, I was like, great. I was excited, but like he did such a good job, and this is a fun film. And I'm loath to say the movie, the words popcorn movie, but to be honest with you, I really enjoyed it. I would definitely say, look, hey, if you're looking for a good escapist movie, I'd say it's definitely, I like it a lot. I thoroughly enjoyed it. Not a great movie, not a good movie, but a great movie. If that makes sense.
Yeah.
Like
What?
No, what I mean is
The opposite.
it wasn't like all the it was underdone is basically what it was.
I
Okay.
get you.
But I enjoyed myself, so
Yes.
that's what made it the experience great.
I did enjoy myself. However, I'm not sure if I can recommend this in good conscience. I think that, not counting the prequels, is the worst Star Wars movie.
I would generally agree as well for not.
I would have
doing
to
that.
think about that for a while. Of course, like I just saw it today for the first time, but
Sure.
it's just I like the other ones better. I think they're more well done. So I'm not saying that I didn't enjoy this movie. I had fun with it, as I have with pretty much every Star Wars movie. But like,
I get you.
it is just not on par with all the other ones. You'd be better off watching pretty much any other Star Wars movie that's not the prequels.
Yeah, that last sentence is pretty much going to be my argument. Like, it was fine, but I would say skip it. I'd say watch any other one. Watch fucking Rogue One again. You watch Last Jedi, whatever. Like, this one is definitely and like I said, I think it's partly due, at least my opinion is that it's due to the fact that this is a completely unnecessary ancillary film. It doesn't advance anything. It's like, hey, here's a character's backstory who everyone like loves. Yeah, sure, he's a cool character, but we don't need this movie.
Well, I mean,
and I'm not going to see it again.
The thing is, like when you have something like the Star Wars world, it's just like, oh, I want to see. Always to me, it was like, I want to see what's behind that door. Like the only thing I consistently liked about the prequels, the only thing was Coruscant. Like,
Sure.
I always thought like an entire planet.
That means zero fuck all to me.
Basically, a planet that's an entire city, I thought was interesting,
Okay.
and I really hated all the characters, but I really liked the city. And I think doing something like Solo is a great thing if you approach it not as a cash grab, but as a like, hey, this is a cool world. Let's really take a familiar character and put him in here. And in other words, you know the difference I'm saying? It's just like, let's put this character in this world, and let's not build a story around this character. Let's build a story, and then
Sure.
But that's not what happened.
Yeah, exactly, and that's why I'm giving it a 0. Like, it'd be nice if it wasn't a cash grab, but I feel like it mostly is. It seems obvious to me that that's why this film exists and how it was done. Even yeah,
I mean, they
it
put
could have been interesting.
Celebrity
Chris.
faces onto it, and they were like, "All right, Han Solo. We're gonna throw every freaking Han Solo reference into this movie."
Yeah,
and that's. I mean, go see it because you love Star Wars, right?
Yeah, that's
like if I
pretty
watched
much
this with no knowledge of Star Wars beforehand, I'd be like, "What the fuck is happening? Like, what are they talking about?" For half the movie,
really
I'd be like, "What are they talking about?"
Yeah, that's a really good thing to say because you're right. Like, it relies. It's like one of the most heavily like nostalgia, like fan leaning things I've ever seen in my life. And I know that Star Wars does that a lot because it is what it is as a property. But this one is even more egregious. So to me, and like you said, like it's probably the weakest one of the newer generation ones. I guess we'll call them, Steve-O. I agree with that. Like, I would say see any of them, but not this one.
You see, I'm the token one. If anybody hasn't listened to our Last Jedi, I'm the only one who does not recommend The Last Jedi. I'm like the only one of us who doesn't like The Last Jedi.
And that's why you have terrible taste in movies and you are recommending
go
Solo.
suck it.
Well, anything else? Because otherwise I think that'll bring us to the final scores, which I will reveal now. All right, well, I think I've got it. You just correct me if I did it wrong. So I've given it a 4. I'll go up. Steve, you gave it a 5, and Chris, you gave it a 7. So that comes out to, I believe, a 5.3. If I'm not wrong about that.
That is correct,
Yep,
sir.
so it's pretty much middle of the road. Yeah, it's fine. It exists. There it is. See it or don't, because you don't need to. That's pretty much all I have to say about it.
Yeah, I think that's pretty good. Now we gotta go see if we can beat Han's score on the Castle Run.
Yeah, I'm gonna go do that right now. I'm gonna go fucking play a Star Wars game. Would be more entertaining than watching this fucking movie. Pretty much. So I think that'll do it. This has been Los Angeles Film and Television. We've been discussing Solo. And I've been Scott Thurlow, here with Stephen Amosi.
Have a good night.
And Chris Morgan.
Live long and prosper.
And we'll see you in a galaxy not too far away. Have a good one.
Editing and engineering by Christopher Morgan. Music by Christopher Morgan. Check us out on YouTube and iTunes for the shows, and on Facebook and Twitter and Brockton. Or Mott's?